So today there's a change of scenery. We are on my bed with my cactuses that are slowly all dying and leaving me. And today I want to talk about Theory of Love's special episode, Stand By Me. So this is gonna be kind of a different video on top of being in a different space in my room. But I really wanted to do kind of a podcast style review of the episode as probably the biggest Theory of Love fan. So Theory of Love I would consider the best Thai BL that exists, and I would probably even consider it in my top 5 favorite Thai series in general. So when the rumors about a special episode kind of started a few months back, I was so excited. Teaser, then the trailer were released. I was even more excited, so I really wanted to talk about this special episode because it means a lot to me, as it is the continuation of my favorite Thai BL of all time. So I kind of took a few notes, but this is gonna be more me just speaking my mind. I'm probably not gonna be inserting any images because GMMTV is such a big on copyright. They're annoying as fuck. So first I want to start with what I didn't like, and then we'll move on to more positive things. So first I think we have to talk about GMMTV's rushed advertising of anything Afghan these days. It first started with their music video, which I had an inkling would be featured into the special, and it was. I was right. The music video was so not advertised. Like, I was really mad at GMMTV at the time because they started releasing teasers for it like 2 days before they released the music video. Only 2 days. That's insane. Usually for their series and anything, GMMTV will release stuff at least a week in advance, sometimes 2 weeks. But here it was 2 days. So thank God the music video didn't flop, and it was actually very loved by the whole baby fandom. But for me it was the first like kind of red flag, because as much as I'm grateful GMMTV is giving Afghan some stuff to work on, for me the rushed advertising kind of undoes all the hard work they're doing. But as we can see, this is becoming a pattern for GMMTV concerning anything Afghan, because even their Afghan Fun Night special episode with Taenew, they barely advertised when Afghan Fun Night is their most popular show. It is like every episode of the first season has at least 4 million views. So there is their biggest show, yet they barely advertised it. I barely knew it was going on, and I'm someone who pays a lot of attention. I go onto GMMTV's YouTube channel at least once a day. I check their socials, and because I'm kind of in the fandom, I'm aware of it in one way or another. But people who are just casual Afghan fans just probably didn't know this was happening. So there was that. But then the special, for me the special was what. So the special isn't something they decided to do because of Together or Still Together, because Still Together was a huge success as well. In the variety show challenge with Jenny Banan, I've talked about the fact that if the show was well received, they would do a special episode, and he said that when they were still filming the original show.
แล้วก็มีสเปเชียลอีกแต่ว่าสเปเชียลเนี่ยถ้าสมมุติว่ากระแสออกมาดีอาจจะทำต่อ
So this special isn't like it didn't come from nowhere. This special had been planned for a long while. So first of all, I don't really know why they decided to do it now. For me it would have made more sense to release it 1 year after the first season, but I know that because of Still Together going on and COVID and everything like that, they probably couldn't do it then. So there had been rumors about the special episode for a while, like fans were spreading it, but we hadn't had any confirmation yet. Then like a week ago, GMMTV posted that teaser with Kai and Third like scene where they touch feet under the table with the voiceover from Afghan to basically confirm that the special was happening. 2 days later they released the actual trailer, and 2 days later they released the actual episode. And the thing was that when they released the first teaser with the feet under the table, we saw Afghan go film a part of the episode. And in the last Afghan Mommy Taste episode, Off said himself that they took only 2 days to film the special.
ทำขึ้นมาแล้วมันน่ารักตอนเราถ่ายเรายังรู้สึกว่ามันน่ารักเลยใช่โหแต่ว่าก็เหนื่อยเหมือนกันนะถ่าย2 วันใช่
Which is insane to me. Like, it's just so rushed and they finished filming the special like a week before release. So for me, like, it just screams rushed, and for me that's very disappointing for something that was getting planned like 2 years ago by now. So for me, that's really my first grief with this special, is GMMTV needs to stop rushing advertisements. Like, they have the keys to be enormous, even more than now. And for me, it was kind of a crime to not advertise this special more when Theory of Love is one of their maybe 5-10 biggest series they've ever done. The second point is probably my biggest like disappointment, and I knew it was coming. I just knew it in my heart. But one thing you gotta know about me is that my favorite ship on earth is Unto from Theory of Love. Usually I'm not someone who completely always falls the most for the side couple, and while I love Kite Turns because I love Afghan, Unto for me like captured something in my heart in such little scenes. Like, they had so little screen time and they managed to literally take my heart like away. Like, so they're my favorites, and I knew in my heart, like, I had a feeling that they wouldn't be there, simply because as soon as there started to be rumors about the special getting released now, I knew that Earth Pirapat was gonna be filming A Tale of Thousand Stars. And so for that I would like to blame Together. I'm sorry, I do love Together quite a bit, but the fact that they had to do the Still Together's episode so quickly, and they basically stole the A Tale of Thousand Stars director because they fired the previous director, making it even more delayed to release, because A Tale of Thousand Stars was supposed to start filming in May, and so we thought maybe, oh, it was because of COVID, but Still Together was filming probably in May, June. So they just snatched the director and made A Tale of Thousand Stars, which was supposed to be released in 2020, be released in 2021. So first of all, there was that. But then, because now Earth is filming currently A Tale of Thousand Stars, he couldn't be here for Theory of Love. So even though I really did enjoy Still Together, I'm kind of really mad that it fucked over not one but 2 shows I love. So I knew in my heart, everyone was telling me, no, a special won't be happening without Unto. It did. It did. So of course, like, I was fucking like, I got depressed so bad the day of the trailer. I was like, it's over, it's game over. Like, I'm never seeing my favorite ship on Earth again, even though I could have if Still Together hadn't happened. So yeah, so the lack of Unto was for me a huge thing, because even though Kite Third's story was almost fully told, Unto's story had so much more material to exploit. Like, it had so much more, and I know a full-on sequel about them sadly will never happen, because GMMTV has never done a sequel on a secondary ship, and if they were to do that, they would probably do it on Mantype or Milpukong from Together, especially since Earth now is being pushed a lot with mix with A Tale of Thousand Stars. But yeah, so that was really disappointing. I was super sad. I hated it. I want my Unto. And then when I thought like GMMTV's advertising couldn't get any worse, they didn't put subs on the episode for almost 24 hours after it premiered. Like, for me, that's just the ultimate proof that it was rushed. I think they filmed the special basically like a week before they released it, because they filmed it in 2 days. We saw that a week before it was released, Afghan and White and Mike were filming the show on a university campus. So for me, it's just like, why did you rush it that much? Couldn't you take a little more time and release it in November? I just can't comprehend. And the lack of subs for me, I mean, I'm glad it still got like 1 million views in less than 24 hours, but for me it just like was the ultimate stroke to show that GMMTV rushed this so much, and I don't like it. I know GMMTV, like the joke is GMMTV is really quantity over quality, and I do agree to a certain extent, but that was so disappointing. Other things that I didn't like, but not to that extent, were the fact that the last 15 minutes or more like 10 minutes were kind of dragged on. I don't know, there was something that, because the main plot of this episode, which was Kai being worried that Third is gonna discover that a girl accidentally kissed his neck, which, by the way, this woman, the woman who got to kiss Off's neck, she did it for all of us. Queen! I stand, honestly, girl. Yeah, so there was that was the main plot, and it gets resolved like a good 10 minutes before the end of the episode, and the last 10 minutes could be great, and they were good. For me, the fact that it was filmed in 2 days really showed, because it was kind of a sort of montage of scenes put together to kind of conclude the story, instead of like one big scene or two big scenes that really conclude the whole story. So I didn't hate the last 10 minutes. For me, they didn't ruin the episode, but for me at the end I was like, okay, get to the point, like conclude the app, thank you, because the main plot was kind of gone. And another thing was that I was kind of disappointed a little bit, like the tiniest bit, by the fact that they kind of threw away the whole one episode equals one movie concept. So what I love the most about the original show, and what makes it for me one of the best Thai series of all time, is that it's so meticulous in its world building. Theory of Love like builds a whole world, and that world, because it's focused on film, the fact that they would, like, every episode had the name of a movie, was focused on a movie, it was just so pleasant. For me, just one of the best thing about this show is that the whole world felt so rich and complete based on movies. They named the episode Stand By Me. I was kind of confused, because when I think of Stand By Me, I think about a song, I don't think about a movie. For me, they really should have named it a movie, and kind of continued the trend of naming one episode a movie. So now we can move on to what I liked, and thankfully it's a lot more than what I didn't like. So for me, my favorite thing about this special was really the continuity and references to the original show. The first shot we get is the opening sequence to Theory of Love, but basically like it showed like every frame of the opening, how they built it. So basically it showed the script of the episode on screen, and it was really pleasant. I really, when I noticed that with the iconic Theory of Love theme, so good. I almost teared up, because I fucking love that theme. It's so good. So there was that, but there was also a lot of continuity that was really great. First of all, the clothing. I noticed that they reused quite a few pieces of clothing, which shows that firstly they kept the clothing, but also they just really wanted to show continuity, that these are the exact same characters that we saw for one season. Also, the fact that the locations were the same was really pleasant. So it was, for me, it felt really like they kept the essence of the show, the atmosphere of the show, the feeling of the show, and for me that's what matters the most. So I really love that they did that. I really appreciated it. So for me, even though there was no Untu in this show, I was so glad to see the Savage Gang again. Like, gosh, I love them so much. These four together are such a great friendship. So I just really love to see the evolution of these characters. So first of all, the friendship, which I think, like, even the little details they put in the show, which are really good. For example, they talk about how for the first year where they didn't work together before creating the whole production company, it's implied that they kind of like, they stayed friends, but they didn't see each other much. They didn't stay as close as they were in university. And for me, it was really important to show that, because friendship kind of fluctuates, and then they create their company together, so hopefully they spend a lot more time together. Also, another thing about continuity I forgot to say, I'm saying it now, was a thing like I noticed. For me, maybe I'm looking too much into it. So for example, in the last episode of the first season, we see Bone getting a girlfriend, but here in the special, because it happens before kind of the 4 years jump that we see at the end of Theory of Love, Bone doesn't have a girlfriend yet. And it's interesting because they could have just said, oh, maybe he met his girlfriend one day, we don't know. But what's interesting is that we know that Bone met his girlfriend in his cafe, but because the special happens after they graduated, it's kind of confusing. So they put in the fact that Bone, on top of being a freelancer, would still continue working at his cafe where he would meet his girlfriend. So for me, that was the little thing where they made it all fit together, and it was great. As for the characters, for me, seeing their evolution was great, because they stayed exactly the same, yet you could see small changes in them. So first I want to talk about Kai, who is my favorite character of all time. So first of all, I would just want to say that the decision to make him the narrator for this special episode was really great. They could have gone either way, but choosing Kai, first of of all fit more the story because the story is more about Kai kind of hiding something from Third, but also I just think Kai is a much more interesting narrator. I mean, the voiceover for Kai is so accurate and cute and adorable, and there were some funny jokes in there. So for me, like, first choosing him as the narrator was the good move, like the best move they could do. But on top of that, I just love to see the evolution of Kai because he was still as cheesy as before, which I appreciated because he's the cheesiest character ever. And so I just love to see him just as cheesy, but also I love seeing him a much more perfect boyfriend. You can really see that Kai has evolved a lot. He has grown, he has become so much more mature in only like 1 year of dating Third, who is kind of colder, he doesn't show really his affection too much. Here he was really good because he stayed that way, but he evolved towards kind of a slightly more soft side. And for 2, it was just really great to see 2 go from the guy that kind of wanted to avoid Byeon and was kind of in denial about his feelings for him for a great part of the show, to see him such a whipped boy for his boyfriend and calling him all the time. That was so fucking sweet. So yeah, I just really love to see the evolution of the characters, but also their friendship together. I also want to say that even though Eun wasn't there, I really appreciated the references to him. Like, I like that they didn't just pretend he didn't exist, but that he actually was part of the show even though Earth couldn't be here. I honestly really enjoyed the story. I know for some, like, a jealousy story, kind of maybe implied cheating story is not good, but for me it was really like, I feel like sometimes they kind of force the jealousy for kind of no reason. But here in Theory of Love, Third's jealousy of Kai is very important because that's basically the whole show. Like, the whole show is Kai not seeing Third loves him and Third being so sad to see him going with all these girls. So for me, like, the way they made this special kind of to end this jealousy storyline once and for all, to do one last instance where we see Kai in a kind of a bad situation, and to have them talk it out like mature beings and just like forgive each other and kind of like put all of their feelings on the table. For me, when Kai like asked Third if he hated him for his past about being a fuckboy and all that, for me that was a really important scene because that's something that wasn't really touched on in the original show, and for me it added a lot. So for me the story was really pleasant. I really like that it focused a lot on the Savage Gang. The Savage Gang for me is one of the best parts about the original show. It's what made every scene so impactful, in my opinion, is that it wasn't just between Kai and Third, but there were 2 other people involved as well. And lastly, the last thing I wanted to talk about is that I feel like this special and Still Together are kind of very similar in kind of purpose, in the sense that they weren't needed because the full story had already been told, yet they still managed to, one, not destroy the legacy of the show and continue it perfectly, but also they managed to still add something for the super fans of the show. I feel like these kind of special episodes always are just to make the fans happy ultimately. Like, it's not because they need to continue the story, because the story has been told already, but it makes fans happy to see those characters again, and it made me really happy to see those characters again. Like the very last scene where they say like a family picture and it ends on the picture of the Savage Gang, and for me that was, I bawled my eyes out. Oh my god. So for me it was like, even though it was kind of purposeless, I'm still so glad it exists, and for me it was really pleasant to see my favorite characters again one last time. So overall I would really say I mostly enjoyed this special. For me it could have been made better though. I just love Theory of Love so much. For me it's, even though it's very popular and a lot of people love it, for me it's still so underrated because it's not the classic Thai BL that has a lot of making out, a lot of sexual tension, and instead it's a very angsty BL that much more focuses on character development than romance. Oh, I forgot to say I love the acting as well. For me it was just as good as the original show. I think I've said it all. Basically it's mostly positive positive with a little bit of anger towards GMMTV for being so kind of unlogical with their advertising, and hopefully like GMMTV can pull their head out of their asses, because I don't know what they've been doing lately, but they've been kind of doing, like we say in French, n'importe quoi. So anyways, that was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the change of scenery. I hope you enjoyed hearing my beautiful deep voice and I hope you have a good day.